What's up, creators, creatrixes, and other conceptual creatures? I'm Wicked. I'm giving power back to the people, and you can't stop me. Today we are going to be discussing emotional intelligence for witches, how your feelings can affect your practice. And I'm really excited for this one because it's just not something that enough people are talking about, honestly. But before we dive in, go ahead and give this video a big thumbs up, smash that subscribe button, and click that little bell so that I can keep helping you keep your third eye in the sky. Let's do it. Your emotions aren't just feelings, they are the fuel that goes into your magic. And that is why it is so important for every practitioner to understand emotional intelligence. So today we are going to go over what it is, how to use it, and simple ways that you can strengthen it. The first part of emotional intelligence is all about self-awareness. So you have to be able to take a step back from life as a whole and really look at yourself as an individual, how you react to things and why. It's also about self-regulation. So once you realize how you're reacting to things and why you are reacting to those things, you have to start making the choice to do so mindfully, to react in a way that actually reflects the type of person that you want to be and the type of life that you want to live. You have to learn how to look your emotions in the face and conquer them instead of letting them conquer you. Emotional intelligence is also about clarity. So it's being able to really look at everything that is happening and digest it in small bites so that you can understand it. And above all, emotional intelligence is about empathy. Empathy for others and empathy for yourself. That's where understanding why you act the way you do and figuring out how to heal those triggers comes in, because that's not easy work, and it gets really easy for us to become very frustrated with ourselves when we see the way that we're acting as if for the first time through brand new eyes. And so you have to be able to love yourself through that process, to accept that you're not perfect, no one is. You're going to make mistakes even once you become aware of all of this stuff, and that's going to be okay, because you have to make mistakes in order to grow. But you can't be comfortable making mistakes if you don't love yourself enough to love yourself through the mess. So empathy is a really big part of emotional intelligence and emotional healing. When it comes to witchcraft, your emotions are your energetic currents. Your awareness is knowing your energetic state before you cast, and regulation is channeling your energy instead of being ruled by it. Now, this really matters when you take matters into your own hands. If you start asking the universe for things from a negative place, the results that you are going to get will inherently be negative. We live in an attraction-based universe, so whatever you put out, you're going to get back. If you were to, let's say, cast a love spell, and you were angry while you did it, the person that you might attract from that spell isn't going to be a good fit for you, and it's not going to be a healthy relationship. If you're trying to cast for abundance, but you're stuck in a place of feeling broke and tired, you're just going to attract more of that. And for all of the people who have tried the craft in their own ways and gotten negative results or what seems like no results at all, it's usually because they are making these simple mistakes. In most any spell you will find, they highly recommend that you meditate first, that you close your eyes, that you get into the right headspace, that you set your intention. But it's not enough to just set your intention, you have to align with your intention. And in order to do that, you have to be able to control your energy so that you can get into the right space, so that you can attract the right things back to you. Feelings can really shape your spells. Your strongest emotions are going to imprint on your magic. So when your feelings match your intention, your spells are going to flow much easier and you're going to get the results that you desire. Whereas fear, doubt, and anger can muddy your spells, making your intentions unclear to the universe and oftentimes leading to spell backfires, making things worse than whatever state you were in when you decided that you wanted to cast this spell. More oftentimes than not, people turn to the craft and law of attraction practices because they're fed up with the way that their life is and they want to change something. And there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, sometimes we need to get angry because anger feels motivating. It feels like you can do something about your life. But if you bring that energy into circle, it's going to warp what you get back. And if it makes it worse, you're going to turn away from this, feeling like you truly have no power because you aren't seeing the cause and effect of your actions and of your emotions. This is again why it's so incredibly important to practice emotional intelligence, so that you can set the vibration for your spell before you throw it out into the universe. It is possible for you to manifest what you want, but you have to be in an energetic state that matches your desire in order to attract it. So no matter how motivated your anger might make you feel, don't cast when you're angry. Write down what you want to do. Stay connected to that motivation, but come back to it once you've settled, once you're able to get into a better place. If you are casting for something that is going to make you happy, then you need to be happy when you cast it. Otherwise, it can't come in, it can't reach you, because happiness vibrates up here and your anger or your depression is much, much lower. You have to be on the same level of your desires in order to attract them to your life. But you can't set or control your energy if you don't know anything about it or about emotional intelligence. So a couple simple ways to practice emotional intelligence are to have self-check-ins. And this is any way of recording your thoughts. If you like to write or type, that's a fantastic way. If you find you're able to connect with your emotions through artistic projects, go ahead and do that. Otherwise, you can make a voice recording or even a video, something that you can go back and look at later, so that you can observe how your mind is working, especially when you are in those really, really heightened emotional states. And this may seem tedious or like a lot of extra work, but you have to understand that this is a gift that you give yourself. The ability to come back and observe how much different you were when you were extremely emotional, when you're much calmer, is going to give you the contrast needed to be able to control yourself when you feel those triggers rising up again. Like I said, it's not a beautiful process. I mean, it is, but it won't feel like it when you're in the middle of it. It's going to feel messy and ugly, and you might feel ashamed looking back at the thoughts that you had when you were all worked up. But you have to be able to be honest with yourself, and that means accepting the parts of you that aren't always shining the brightest. This is also why shadow work is important, because you have to get comfortable with those dark, dirty parts of you in order to heal them and to expand beyond them. Now, after you do something like this, and especially if you're going back to look at what you were thinking, grounding practices can be very helpful, so that when you return to look at your messy, angry, sad, big emotions, you don't get swept away in them again. And grounding practices, they're really easy. You can do something as simple as walking on the earth with bare feet. This allows you to connect with nature and to come back down into your body in a very rooted and stable way. If that's not feasible for you, you can also try breath work. Simply inhaling for 4 counts, holding for 4 counts, and exhaling for 4 counts a few times can help you find your center again. You can also cleanse yourself and your energy field and whatever space you have to vibrate in that day to help keep the energy clear. And you can do this with sage or any other type of smoke, really. If sage doesn't do it for you, or you have some sort of allergy or aversion, you can find any other scented incense and use that. It will be just as potent. Energy cleansing allows us to really reset the entire energy, not only of ourselves, but the space that we're in a way that we can't always do with a simple clean. All in all, it's actually better to do both. If you sage or smoke smudge with whatever you like to use while you're cleaning, it gives you the opportunity to clear out all of that energy that you're stirring up while you're sweeping, dusting, vacuuming, what have you, so that it is expelled and it doesn't just settle back down and rest with you. And you can also use crystals to help you ground yourself. Crystals are of the earth. They carry their own vibrational frequency, and they can help you to not only get more stable, but to enhance your positive mood as well. Just stay mindful of the crystal's correspondences, because if you're to use something like moldavite when you're in a really big emotional state, it has the possibility of just amplifying that and making it worse instead of helping you calm down. But rose quartz is always good for any emotion, because it opens up your heart chakra, and that'll allow you to access your empathy for yourself and whoever might be frustrating, agitating, or saddening you. If you're in a really disruptive state and you just feel called to cast, that's absolutely okay. I know that sounds contradictory to what I said earlier, but just hear me out. I'm not saying that you should go for the spell that you were thinking of initially, but rather focus on a release spell. Allow yourself to gather up all of those giant and perhaps awful emotions and set them free so that they can't torment you anymore. It doesn't ever hurt to do a release before you take part in any form of ritual. Sometimes it's like cleaning house. You just want to get all of the garbage out of the way so that you can focus on the good, on what's really valuable, so that you can amplify that through your spell work. Learning about emotional intelligence and empathy especially is very important in the craft, especially if you're working with other people. Now, you want to be empathetic if you are partaking in rituals with other human beings, but also if your ritual is going to affect other human beings. Oftentimes, when we have these really big emotions, they actually stem from a lack of control. Someone is acting or responding in a way that we don't like, and you might get that little light bulb that says, well, I'm a witch, I practice magic, I can change this. We're going to skip over the fact that that is wildly manipulative for a second, and instead start thinking about how that person that you want to direct this spell at might already be feeling, or how they might feel if they suddenly lose their own control. When you're casting, your spells should be primarily focused on your energy anyway, your life, what you can do for yourself. The craft is about expansion, and you want to become a better person, not a worse one because of it. And if you are turning to the craft, to magic, to law of attraction because you hope to manipulate the way that someone else is acting and you want to force them to comply with whatever it is that you want, emotional intelligence is for you. You need to open up to those parts of yourself that feel that they have to be in control and tap into what that other person might be feeling. Do you really want to take someone else's free will away after it took you so long to connect with your own? Probably not. But in the moment when you're experiencing those big emotions, it might feel like the only choice. That's a part of human nature. We have to be able to separate from that and look at the big picture. Remember that we are a collective consciousness, that we are all actually one, and respect everyone as though it is your soul in their body. This is why it's also important for you to learn to love yourself, because if you don't, it's going to be hard for you to express empathy to anyone else. And the whole world, practitioner or not, needs more of this. So don't be part of the problem, be part of the solution. There is a way for you to get what you want. It just might not actually include that person that you were focused upon. And that's the hardest thing for us to learn as people, because we get so attached. But if you really want to attract love or a friend or a business partner, something that requires someone else into your life, you're going to want to recognize that it is more important for you to have that connection than be fixated on who it's coming from. Because the fact of the matter is that if any type of relationship with another person isn't working out, no amount of magic is going to make that better. You might get them to be compliant for a little while, but you are going to end up worse off than when you started. And that's not the aim. That's not what we want. We want things to get better. So be more focused on the energy, the nature of the connection, and let whoever actually matches that fill that spot in your life. The best way to truly connect with other people is to learn the art of detachment, and that means never forcing them or strong-arming them into your will, but allowing them to have their own. Something has happened to us humans where we've been taught to believe that power is power over others, but needing power over others is actually a major weakness. True power comes from power over yourself. It comes from being sovereign. It comes from recognizing that your life, your choices, your path, they're all up to you to decide. And that is a simple right that everyone should have. So if your aim is to take that away from someone else, you need to focus on you. You need to heal that rift inside of you, because you wouldn't like it if someone else was trying to do this to you. So why would you put that energy out into the universe and be the problem? We want to heal the collective. We want to see a better world. And more often than not, that means starting within the self, healing your inner nature, and becoming the best version of you so that we can give back to the world, set a good example, and be part of the higher vibrational collective consciousness. Now I recognize when you're in a really emotional state, none of that might matter to you. That's how we get dictators. because they're focused on their need for power, their need for control, because it validates their ego. But we don't need any more ego in this world. We need more love, more compassion, more empathy, and that all stems from emotional intelligence. And if these thoughts make you uncomfortable, please recognize that that is a big sign for you to do some shadow work and learn how to release your ego. Because feeding the ego never actually makes anyone happier. It just creates a bigger void within that needs to be fed more often. And that is where most misery stems from. So if your true aim is to better your life and to be happy, you have to learn how to let your spirit speak, let your heart rule, and release all of the things that ego deems as important, because it's really just a concept. Going within the self, healing all of these things, dealing and facing off with these parts of yourself, it's not easy work, but it is worth it. Your life will be so much better when your higher self, when your spirit, when the best part of you is in control of things, and you'll be able to attract and manifest things that feel so much better than if you were trying to do this from that lower vibrational state of ego consciousness. It's also really important to understand that your emotions are going to amplify your spells, and if you use the right ones, your spells are going to be more powerful and more effective. For instance, if you are working with protection magic, the more calm, grounded, and centered you feel, the stronger that protection magic is going to be, because you've created a solid foundation for the universe to build on in order to keep you, your loved ones, your things, whatever it is that you wish to protect, safe. Manifestation spells work best when you feel the future emotion. The best way to manifest anything is to put yourself in the same vibrational state as what it is that you wish to desire. We talked about that earlier. Now what does that mean? For instance, if you aim to manifest $1 million and you feel like shit, you're going to have a really hard time doing that. So it's better for you to start living with that $1 million mindset, to start feeling like a millionaire, to start feeling abundant, like you have plenty of resources available to you, like the possibilities are limitless, like all of the doors are open, so that that positive energy can come back into you. You want to match the frequency of the desire that you wish to attract, because we live in an attraction-based universe, and you cannot attract anything that is not a match to you. So no matter what it is that you are trying to accomplish with your magic, you need to understand that your emotions are fueling it, and you need to feel wisely. So before you cast your next spell, take a minute, ask yourself, what is it that I'm truly feeling in this moment? And then decide if you should continue forward. Your results are going to be so much better, so much clearer, and so much more life-changing if you take one small moment to have that tete-a-tete with yourself and figure out what it is that you're feeling and if it is in alignment with what you really want. Don't be afraid to look within yourself. Don't be afraid to get to know yourself. This life is not about control over others, but about self-mastery instead. That's all I have for this one. Thank you so much for joining me, and make sure to like and subscribe so that I can help you keep your third eye in the sky. Stay blessed.